book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3 and verse 1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the sun. Verse 5. A time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get, and a time to lose, a time to keep, and a time to cast away, a time to rend, and a time to sow, a time to keep silence, and a time to speak, a time to love, and a time to hate, a time of war, and a time of peace. All praises to Yahweh, by Hashem Hawashai, Wahara Kakwadash, the honors of the elders and the apostles of the great millstone. Shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel that scattered abroad amongst the heathen. Some look like the heathen, beginning with the 144,000 preachers, teachers, prophets. Shalom. And we are in the time of alliances. People are refraining from embracing, all right? To lose, to separate, all right? To cast off, to rend, meaning to split, okay? A time of hate, division, a time of war, World War III, all right? So that's the time that we are in. As a matter of fact, the word embrace means to hold together or to clasp with the arms. Embrace. Definition. Verb. Hold someone close in one's arms, especially as a sign of affection. So that's that partnership. That's that alliance. 2, accept or support a belief, theory, or change willingly and enthusiastically. You see? That's the verb. Now the noun, an act of holding someone closely in one's arms. 2, an act of accepting or supporting something willingly or enthusiastically. So it's the same thing. All right? Got 2 videos. All right, got 2 videos. And it's all pertaining to what? World War III. Let's get this one first. It's a shorter
When
video.
my team pitched the idea, I thought it was impossible. A pan that sears like stainless, lasts like cast iron. President Trump issuing
As you see, Trump issues an ultimatum for NATO, which are Edomite countries, their brothers, their allies, those who they are in agreement with. Remember, the woman that rideth upon the scarlet-colored beast, that woman is America. The scarlet-colored beast is NATO and the EU. All right? So America is the head, the lead of NATO, is controlling NATO. All right? They're the same people, Edomites. It says Trump issues an ultimatum for NATO countries on Russia sanctions. Yeah, we can play the video, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you, if you don't already know, that Trump said the only way he will put sanctions on Russia is if NATO stopped buying Russian oil. Showing you that Trump, America don't care nothing about their allies. Because they rely on that Russian oil. Okay? If they cut off all Russian oil from Russia, or cut off all oil from Russia, that's gonna hurt their pockets, man. That's gonna really put the NATO countries in a bind, man. Higher costs, turmoil, and we'll pull up the information. But you see, we're in a time where and when you get real quick, the beast shall hate the whore. That beast being NATO and the EU is gonna hate the whore, America, and you see why? They're already splitting up. They're starting to have differences of opinions, okay? And America is showing that they don't care about their allies, man. All right? Their brothers who they used to once embrace, all right? Revelation 17:1, there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore, America, which sitteth upon many waters. The waters is the nations. All right, America rules the world, is in control, with whom the kings of the earth did commit fornication, and the inhabitants. Matter of fact, we always got to prove this. Let's get the waters real quick. Verse 15, jump down in Revelation 17:15. And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. You see? So America rules all nations. It's over all nations. Revelation 17:2, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication, right? With the wine of America's wickedness. All right? Remember, everybody's falling after the ways of America. There's no one is falling after the ways of the Arabs. Okay? No one's falling after the ways of the Hawaiians. No one is falling after the ways of China. No, everyone is falling after the ways of America. It says, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, for the names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. So the names full of blasphemy. Blasphemy means to speak vile against, or to speak against. And they're speaking against the ways of Yahweh Shema Shai. It says having 7 heads, which goes into the 7 Edomite power structures, beginning with the Greeks, the Romans, the Germans, the British, Spanish, yeah, I said Great Britain, British. I forget them all. It's 7. I forget the 7 Edomite power structures, but they were the 7 Edomite power structures. It says, and 10 horns, which those 10 horns, first it goes into the Germanic Major, Germanic Greece, Rome, Germanic Major, Germanic Minor, Spain, Great Britain, and it's one more, because it's 7. Damn, I forgot. Shit. No, it's not Russia. Yeah, I forget. Father House will it'll come to me. But they're the 7 Edomite power structures. All right. It says in 10 horns, which the first 10 horns was the 10 vassals, the countries that took down Rome. All right, they were alliance with Rome. All right, but they took them down, and that's what we're seeing happening now. Okay. Again, now the 10 horns represents NATO and the EU, which is going to take down the revised Roman Empire because of that division. All right. Hey, back then, Rome was sucking the life out of them 10 vassals, man. They were tributaries. All right. And NATO and the EU is the same thing to America now. All right. And they tired of it because of the deception. All right. The lies. Hey, the revised Roman Empire, which is America, it don't care about their allies. So, hey, there's no more embracing. We're to the point where there's no more embracing. There's no more alliance. All right. There's no more showing love. All right. And the woman, well, that was the point. Let me see. And I want to jump down. Verse. Let me see. Verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast. Right. The beast is the entire power structure, man. All right. The 10 horns, NATO and EU today, which thou sawest upon the beast, this entire beast system, Edomite power structure, these shall hate the whore, America, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So that's that division, and eventually they're going to destroy America. All right? Because these nations, these NATO and EU members are seeing, been seeing, most definitely since 2020, 2021, 2022, they starting to see, or they started to see then, and it's continuing on now, how America don't give a damn about them. They don't have their back. It says, and you know, the scriptures speak upon a betrayal, man, and sharing of secrets. There ain't no coming back from that. It says, for God Yahweh has put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God Yahweh shall be fulfilled. All right? So you see, they are in agreement and still allies until the time when Yahweh Shema Shai fully separate them, where the beast is going to hate the whore, man, and destroy her with fire in World War III. Because Putin and their allies are not the only ones that's going to destroy America. NATO and EU, well, NATO is going to, which they're the same. NATO is more as the military power. NATO is going to help destroy America as well. And you know, Yahweh Michael and the angels, Yahweh underneath Yahweh Michael, who was the head angel underneath Yahweh, the leader of the army, the spiritual army, and the angels are going to come finish it off. And the woman, America, which thou sawest, is that great city, Babylon, which reigneth over all the kings of the earth. You see? So, it's the same thing of Obadiah. They set a womb under thee, you know? So let's play this real quick. Who did once eat thy bread. Let's play this joint real quick.
President Trump issuing a blunt ultimatum to NATO countries, saying he's ready to impose major sanctions on Russia, but only if they stop buying Russian oil. Moscow said this week that negotiations to end the war in Ukraine are going nowhere. It also comes just days after Russian drones were shot down inside Polish airspace. We've got full coverage of these developments. With us now is CNN senior White House reporter Betsy Klein and correspondent Nada Bashir in London. Betsy, to you first. Is this another shift in the relationship between the president and NATO allies?
Well, it could mark a shift, but President Trump issuing a major ultimatum to these NATO countries, saying that the U.S. is ready to apply major sanctions on Russia only if NATO countries agree to do the same and to stop buying Russian oil. He said this in a letter to these countries issued earlier this morning, and the president also said in that letter that those countries should significantly ramp up those tariffs on China to 50 to 100%, marking a major show of force. But meeting President Trump's demands would mark a major shift in policy for these NATO countries. It's really unclear at this point if there's going to be collective interest in taking these steps. But I want to read to you from the president's letter. He says, quote, NATO's commitment to win has been far less than 100%, and the purchase of Russian oil by some has been shocking. It greatly weakens your negotiating position and bargaining power over Russia. Now, many of these countries still import Russian liquefied natural gas as well as fossil fuels. Turkey, which is a NATO member, is also a major importer of Russian oil. And this is also generally not how these countries approach the use of tariffs. So all of this setting up a major test for President Trump's influence. And it all comes as momentum toward ending Russia's war in Ukraine has significantly stalled in recent days. The president says that his patience with Russian President Vladimir Putin is running out and running out fast. And he was asked yesterday how he could put more pressure on Russia. Listen.
What is clamping down on Vladimir Putin?
Well, it would be hitting very hard with sanctions to banks and having to do with oil and tariffs also. But I've already done it. I've done a lot.
The president's latest demands risk prolonging this conflict, and time is a valuable commodity for Putin. It gives Russia the ability to make more gains on the battlefield and shore up control of some of those occupied areas, Frederica.
All right, Betsy, thanks so much. And Nada to you. NATO countries have launched what they're calling Operation Eastern Sentry in reaction to Russia's incursion into Poland's airspace. Where do things stand?
That's right. We expect this operation to be launched into the coming days. This is a collaboration between NATO member states, including the United Kingdom, France, Germany, Denmark, and other nations. The intention, according to the NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, is to bolster defenses along NATO's eastern flank in the face of growing Russian threats and aggression. This is, of course, something that is more of a preparedness exercise, of course, demonstrating NATO's posture in the face of potential Russian aggression. And we're expecting to see military hardware, fighter jets deployed from these nations as part of that operation. Of course, as you mentioned, Frederica, this follows that incursion into Polish airspace by Russian drones, the majority of which, according to Poland's leader, came from Belarus. Now, of course, it's important to remember that all of this is happening as Russia and Belarus carry out joint military drills, and that has certainly set the alliance on edge somewhat. The last time we saw drills of this sort was back in 2021, and some Western military officials have said that that served as a screen or pretext for Russia's eventual invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. Now, at this stage, it's looking like those military drills are at a much smaller scale than the previous drills. The vast majority of Russia's combat capabilities are tied up in the war in Ukraine, particularly in the eastern Donbass region at this current point in time. But there is certainly a feeling of NATO alliance members being on edge as we continue to see Russia bolstering its own defenses and seemingly trying to show its military capabilities in the region. And of course, now we're hearing these remarks from the US president, clearly some mounting pressure there on NATO members to do more, particularly, as Betsy mentioned, as these ceasefire talks and negotiations appear to have stalled. Frederica?
All right, Nada Bashir in London and Betsy Klein, thank you so much.
So there you have it. Now let's pull up this information because I got another video concerning the dragons of Arabia. I typed in, how would NATO be affected if they stop purchasing Russian oil? AI overview, ending the remaining Russian oil purchases by NATO members will impose significant economic consequences on Russia, but will also entail economic risks and complications for specific member states. The majority of NATO and European Union nations have already heavily reduced or eliminated Russian oil imports since Russia's 2022 invasion of Ukraine. However, a full, complete halt on Russian oil is complicated by continued imports by a few key countries and by indirect imports through third-party nations. Existing sanctions and remaining dependency. Many European NATO members, particularly within the European Union, have already implemented embargoes on seaborne Russian crude oil and petroleum products. This has significantly reduced Russia's oil revenues, especially in 2023, by removing its largest and most lucrative market. Nevertheless, some NATO members still maintain some degree of reliance on Russian energy. Pipeline imports. It says landlocked nations like Hungary and Slovakia continue to import Russian crude oil via pipeline as of 2025. These countries have exemptions from EU oil sanctions and have voiced concerns about their energy security if these supplies were cut. You see, third-party refiners, the EU and some NATO members indirectly import fuels refined from Russian crude by third countries such as India and Turkey. In July 2025, the EU adopted its 18th sanctions package, which included a ban on these products, but enforcement remains a challenge. Direct imports, non-EU NATO member Turkey continues to be one of the top global buyers of Russian oil alongside China and India. Consequences for Russia eliminating all remaining NATO purchases of Russian oil would be intended to deliver a final decisive blow to Moscow's energy revenues. But hey, you see what's going on, man. It'll really put them NATO members in a bind. You said, Wilson put Russia in a bind too. Well, who was in more need? All right. I mean, come on, man. All right. And Trump said he will not put sanctions on Russia unless NATO stop buying Russian oil, man. All right. So you see these NATO members are starting to see that. We've been seeing, but they starting to see more and more that hey, Trump and America ain't really for them. All right. So you see, eventually these things gonna continue to escalate, and this beast gonna hit the whore and burn her with fire and make her naked, meaning destroy you in World War III. All right, and it's going to happen. All right, these things are building up, and you see all this chaos going on over here in America, and what's building up globally? World War III. Allied alliances are falling apart. Hey, they are refraining from embracing. All right, meaning being an alliance. All right, let's get this other video. Where is it? Right here.
The harsh truth about pubic hair is that the longer it is, the nastier it smells. Sweat, bacteria.
This popped up the other day. I see this shit.
His country appreciates.
Anyway, it says GCC Arab states must unite for security after Israeli attack in Doha. Gulf Times editor-in-chief, you see, Arab states must unite for security after Israeli attack in Doha. All right, now these Arab states are these Russian nations, man. I'm sorry, Islamic nations. My fault, y'all. Slip of the tongue. Let's get Jeremiah 51:27. My fault. Let's hold that because I want to get this first. Father House will. Let's get we can get it right here. Stay in the same app. Second Edges 15. Ain't that far. From 20 something verse. Second Edges 15 and 28. Behold, a horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east, were the nations of the dragons of Arabia. It says, and that's these Islamic nations, man. All right. Shall come with many chariots, right there, vehicles, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth. So they're going to be everywhere back east. That all they which hear them may fear and tremble. Also the Carmenians, the Iranians, raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come. So, hey, they're military as well, and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of Assyria. You see? So, hey, things picking up back east, man. All right? So, hey, they've been coming closer and closer together. Because, you know, it was a separation of these Muslim nations, man. You had the Shiite Muslims and the Sunni Muslims and all of that. That division. But, hey, they're coming together underneath the banner of that brotherhood, man. All right, against some Israelis. And, you know, that's going to lead America into war as well. All right? And we get that all the time. All right? Matter of fact, let's just get it. And then we'll close out with that Jeremiah 51. Let's get the lease of the flock. My fault is 49 right now here. The lease of the flock. Am I overlooking it? Cancel. Pose. My fault, y'all. Let's type it in, man. At least on the flop. Jeremiah 50:45. It says, "Therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, that he has taken against Babylon, America, and his purposes that he has proposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock, the Israelites, shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them." You see, so America is going to get destroyed along with the land of Israel, the state of Israel. All right. But the land of Israel will be re-inhabited by us, the true Israelites, but you heathens will build it back up. That's called servitude, slavery. At the north, the same way we build all y'all empires, y'all gonna build ours up. It says at the noise of the taking of Babylon, America, the earth is moved and the cry is heard among the nations. Meaning what? World War III, that hell, that lake of fire brimstone is America. Okay? Which, hey, this is another scripture that proves that the entire earth will not be destroyed because it's going to be noise. Verse 46 again at the noise of the taking of Babylon. So when America is destroyed in World War III, which is the same time our Lord Yahweh Shai is going to come and destroy as well. At the noise of and the deliverance of the elected Israel from America, at the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved, and their cry is heard among the nations. You see? So, hey, there is no global destruction, man. It's just America. The nation's still going to be here, all right, on Judgment Day. All right? Now, Jeremiah 41:51 and 27, it says, "Prepare against her being America, the nations with the king." Let's start up. Number 28. Verse 27, Jeremiah 51:27, set ye up a standard in the land, blow the trumpet among the nations, prepare the nations against her being America. Come together against her, the kingdoms of Ararat, Mini, and Ashkenaz. Is going into these Turkey and these Muslim countries, man. These Muslim nations, man. That brotherhood. All right. Appoint a captain against her. Cause the horses to come up as the rough caterpillars. And these horses that's going to come up as the rough caterpillars are the nuclear missiles, man. Prepare against her being America, the nations with the kings of the Medes. That's Russia. The captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion, Ezekiel 38. All right? The land shall tremble and sorrow. That land is America. For every purpose of the Lord, Yahweh Shema Shai, shall be performed against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without an inhabitant. You see? So America is going to be destroyed, man. But we see, hey, these things are coming together, man. All right, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai, as that was told unto you by the servants of prophets whom Yahweh Shema Shai set forth, who has been giving you warning, who has been telling you about end times. Not Joel Osteen and T.D. Jakes and Creflo Dollars and all these clowns. Not your pastors that's on every corner. They ain't been telling y'all nothing, man. All right. Now let's just
as a mom of children with allergies, it's hard creating a game plan that helps.
Minister says his country.
Let's start it over.
An emergency summit of heads of state from Arab and Islamic nations is getting underway here in Doha. They're discussing how the region should respond to last week's Israeli attack on Hamas leaders in Doha. Qatar says Israel's aggression must be met with fierce and firm measures. Qatar's Prime Minister says his country appreciates the support shown by its allies and the widespread condemnation of Israel's attack. He says his country will continue mediation efforts to end that war in Gaza. US President Donald Trump, meanwhile, has been reaffirming his support for Qatar and indeed highlighting the importance of that relationship.
Look, we're with them. They've been a great ally. A lot of people don't understand that about Qatar. But Qatar's been a great ally. They also lead a very difficult life because they're right in the middle of everything. So they have to be a little bit politically correct in their terms. But I will tell you, they've been a great ally for the United States, Qatar.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says Washington will encourage Doha to continue to play a constructive role in Gaza. He was speaking at a press conference with the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem. This follows last Tuesday's Israeli attack, which of course targeted Hamas leaders in Qatar.
We are focused on what happens now. What happens next? What role can Qatar play possibly in reaching an outcome here that leads not just to the end of this hostilities, not just to the release of all of the hostages, both living and deceased, not just the disarmament and elimination of Hamas, but also a better future for the people of Gaza, which isn't possible as long as Hamas exists, which isn't possible as long as 48 hostages are being held. And so we're going to continue to encourage Qatar to play a constructive role in that regard. We're focused because at the end of the day, no matter what has happened, these fundamentals still remain. There is still a Hamas, there is still 48 hostages, and there is still a war going on. And all of these things standing in the way of a better future for the people of Gaza and a peaceful end to what's happening now. So we're going to remain focused on what we can do next.
Joining us now is Faisal Al-Mudhaka, editor-in-chief of the Qatari newspaper Gulf Times. Faisal, thank you for staying with us. Okay, there are many assumptions which have been made as to what's happened, in Doha just nearly a week ago now as well. But, what are the lessons that we can draw from this? This is the thing here, particularly for the Gulf states.
The rule of the mediation is the trust of two parties. It seems that, and also the amenity of the United States and support for this mediation. Watching the press conference, Netanyahu with his false claims, reckless speeches, talking about, we are going to.
There was no equivalence between getting Osama bin Laden out of Pakistan, really, and getting him out to what happened in Doha when you actually bombed your opposing mediators on the interlocutor's soil.
Yes, on an official mediation that is ongoing. For him, there is a lot of false talking about he wants the hostages. I would leave this hostages thing because this is more an Israeli local to assess, but it's all a bunch of unsense, reckless speeches. But the lesson to learn from what happened, that the GCC should own their own security. A mediation, if it's not working, Qatar as a state, I think, will always sustain its policy of dialogue by peace. Qatar will always be a capital of mediation in the Middle East, and we will stand for what we say. But I really not very optimistic. I'm not very optimistic about the whole situation. Listening to the press conference of Netanyahu,
it seemed like nothing had changed, really.
Nothing has changed. But
then this begs this other question: is that these states in this part of the world need to look at this with a new lens, do they not? They have to look at what the role is for the US for them, for one thing. Would they consider using the leverage that some of these Arab states have in the Gulf on Israel itself to perhaps come up with a solution? Or do they, as you perhaps also pontificate upon, is continue with this passivity?
Look, I think what happened on 9th of September is not the same. It's a whole change. There will be a lot of change of alliances. There will be a lot of change. The 9th of September, and after 9th of September, it's not the same. I hope the summit comes with condemn, yes, but also with a measure that stop this reckless act of Israel in the region. Just an indication, 16 building has been flat out. So much people were killed. children's and women's, while the Arab leaders and the Islamic leaders are meeting. Is this the world we want to live on? Is this the new Middle East? So I think a lot of measure has to be taken, and the Arab has those, and Islamic has those levels, especially the GCC.
Yes, so then we talk about the GCC. I mean, could they openly or privately even perhaps not necessarily welcome these strikes, but see these strikes as perhaps buying them some more security, if you will, in a funny sort of way?
What do you mean, more security?
That perhaps they will not again be attacked as Donald Trump has suggested.
Look, the relation with the United States is something, but that's what I'm saying. The GCC has its own power. It's time for them to get together. We have the GCC have faced many challenges, and they have challenges, political situation, the Iraqi-Irani war, the invasion of Kuwait. So there is many challenges past time. Now I think they need to go together, back together, activate their military coalition, which they have. It's part of the GCC. Activate their economic, activate their defense security. I think there is a lot of measure can be taken. This should not be a free ride for Israel. The concept of peace and sustainability, it will not work.
Yeah.
We have tried it. It's not working very well. What did the Abraham Accord do to the Arab state? Did it create peace? It didn't create any peace, as you have seen. There's a big condemn from the UAE. Will this attack speed up the Saudi on going forward? Of course, no. So what is Netanyahu is doing is just creating another chaos and keep doing this reckless part. It's not far away when the Iranian and Israel between them the war. This creates sustainability for the region. It's all illusion. Everything for him comes from the testimony. You're talking about Bin Laden, same concept. Doesn't believe in international law, doesn't believe in borders. It's all things that is inspired by religion. So we are really living in a challenging time dealing with this. It's not us. I think it's the international world, because what he's doing is encouraging. You have seen today there is a tension China and Taiwan. There is a tension in Poland. It's encouraging a world destruction. It's not only in Qatar.
Faisal, so we've got time for. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Faisal Al-Badaka, editor-in-chief of the Qatari newspaper, the Gulf Times.
Don't miss out and get the full picture.
You see, it's a time of war, not a time of peace, man. Shalom.